The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 154 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Thursday, May 21st, 2020. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. And James, we've got real racing to talk about this week.
Yeah, man, and that Xfinity race just ended, what, a handful of hours ago, not that long ago?
Yeah.
And holy crap, that was awesome.
It was. They saved the best for last, for sure.
Holy crap, dude. It was, I mean, that, I tweeted it out a little bit ago, but that's why we need sports back.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what it's all about right there.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular. Hell, let's talk about it right now. Chase Briscoe holds off Kyle Busch on the last lap to win his second race this season so far and beat the KB show. Kyle got a speeding penalty, went to the back, and was able to get his way back up to fifth, and then there was a caution. And pit stops, I think, would Kyle come out? Third, I think? Yeah,
I think so.
He was inside, bottom row. And him and old Briscoe put it to it, and a lot of bumping and banging on the last lap, but Briscoe was able to
slam on the wall.
Yeah, Briscoe got past and crossed him up, came back by and held him off coming off turn 4.
Got the momentum going through 3 and 4, and it's more than a race win for Chase Briscoe. I mean, he's got stuff going on. You can go to his Twitter. We don't have to go into that, but man, wow, it's emotional. I get a little just thinking about what he's going through.
Yeah,
it kind of chokes me up just a little bit. I mean, he said it, the biggest day of my life after the toughest day of my life, and it's just awesome that he went toe to toe with Kyle Busch. And in theory, I know it doesn't exist anymore. He wins the bounty,
right?
The non-existent bounty, but regardless, just an awesome finish, awesome racing. Darlington is, I mean, we don't have to say much about it. It's fantastic. We all know.
Yeah, I mean, Darlington's one of those tracks, I think, that NASCAR can do whatever they want to do. They can try to screw it up, and you just can't screw Darlington up.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing. Yeah, I know.
You just can't. It just holds. I mean, when you got a track that's barely wide enough for 2 cars side by side, you're asking for excitement, and that's what you get at Darlington.
The only thing that can go wrong is rain, and
right.
that unfortunately we had to deal with that this week out there. But everything else is perfect.
That entirely hurt anything either, though. Well, we'll talk about that. But so great way to finish it off. I think if the world was perfect, that's the finish we would have had on Sunday with the Cup race. Mm-hmm. But I think again, great way to cap off the weekend at Darlington. A really, really weird weekend or half a week at Darlington with all the the masks and the different protocols and stuff we're not used to and whatnot. But yeah, great way to finish it. Again, Chase Briscoe gets the win. Second race this season for him. He's filling the shoes of Cole Custer last season, who had a bunch of wins, and Chase admittedly said that he thought he needed to win a bunch this year to prove that he's the right guy.
He's already proved it. I don't need to see much. I don't need to see much more. He's a good driver.
Is he coming to Cup now, James? I mean,
he's not
going to come tomorrow, but I mean, he just beat the best. Does that kind of solidify him as a?
He's in that same. I think he's in that same Tyler Reddick type fold.
Right.
He's in with the Stewart-Haas guys. I don't know what their plans are. I think Stewart-Haas is going to have some movement going into 2021.
I was starting to wonder how easy it would be to make that decision with how Clint Boyer was running last night.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
I know.
But... Yeah, I know. They've got Briscoe, Larson lurking possibly. It's going to get crowded.
Yep.
And Custer's not going anywhere, I don't think, for at least a couple of seasons. But yeah, man, he can drive. He can drive with the best of them. He doesn't need to show me anything else. Go out there and win this championship. That's really all he needs to do. But
this is proof that Ford knew what they were talking about, because if it wasn't for Ford, Briscoe would have been cut loose a long time ago.
Oh, you saw him in victory lane after the race. He's wearing his Ford Racing Development Team hat. I mean, that's that they put him in sports cars and they had him all over the place. And he's won. I mean, heck, he won the Charlotte Roval. He's, he's got some tough tracks under his belt, but the guy can drive. He can drive with the best of them. You put him in Stuart Haas, they're providing the best equipment out there anyway,
Right.
with Gibbs. So they're, he's got the best stuff under his hood and he can drive and he's doing what he's supposed to. Go out there and win races. And if you go toe to toe with Kyle Busch like that at the, top 5 toughest racetrack on the circuit,
Yeah.
it's in that, it's in that discussion. He's good, man. He's as good as gold. He's fine.
Did this prove anything to you today, James, or were you already on the Chase Briscoe's got some talent bandwagon?
Yeah, I've liked Chase Briscoe.
I've seen a lot of good stuff from him already.
Yeah,
this cements it, I think, but
this puts him over the top.
Yeah.
He belongs in those discussions. I mean, he's in the, like I said, he's in the Tyler Reddick. He's in the, I think he's, in that Chase Elliott type group. He's just got to go out there and, a championship would be nice, but you don't need to see that in the Xfinity Series necessarily to know what you got. So,
right. Yeah, I think, like you said, I think Briscoe's biggest problem is going to be where is he going to go. Ford will do what they can to keep him around, and I'm sure Ford will do what they can do to get him a ride. But I mean,
where do you go? It's either Stuart Haas or Roush, right? I mean, there's not much.
Add a Penske car. I don't.
Yeah, there's not much room there either.
You don't want to stick him in Roush.
No, you don't want to, unless he's the successor to Newman, which I don't.
Even
who knows?
Then, though, I guess Roush is better than nothing. But I think we're going to talk about Matt Kenseth a little bit today too, and I think Matt Kenseth shows you that Roush isn't the way to go to show what somebody has either. I think he proves that, but. We'll get to that because that might be a debate.
I think on the opposite end of the spectrum, though, Ryan Newman shows you what you can do with it.
True.
I would
True,
push
but
back
what would
bit.
Ryan Newman be doing if he wasn't in a Roush car then?
Well, we've seen him with the best equipment out there with Stuart Haas, and he wasn't. He was winning races, but he wasn't competing for championships either. So,
right.
I don't know. That's a bigger discussion.
Well, this is all it is what ifs and
it is
pulling
ifs
some
and buts.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we might talk about today's race first, but let's talk about the Cup Series because we had 2 Cup Series races this week. First time since I think they said 1984 or something like that we've had 2 Cup races in a week like this.
34 years I think they said. Yeah, so that would be right.
So we kicked things off on Sunday. NASCAR returned to the track for the Real Heroes 400 from Darlington Raceway. Kevin Harvick gets the win. I think, looking back at Sunday's race, it was not the greatest race in the world, but given the circumstances, it was the greatest race in the world.
Yeah, I thought it was really good racing, to be honest with you.
It was a very good race. It was not spectacular, but it had good moments. Ricky Stenhouse didn't disappoint by giving us a caution on the first lap.
Nope.
If there's anybody going to do it, if there's anybody who's going to be too anxious at the start of a race where everybody says you shouldn't be anxious, it's going to be Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Well, and what are we going to do with Jimmy Johnson now? Because I saw that you tweeted out that maybe he is human, and I would say he's been showing this for years.
Yeah. Well, he really he's had 2 major moments that have shown it, and both have been, the one was the lost victory at the Roval, the first Roval race, and then this was the second one. Yep. I don't know. That was I tell you what, man, that was a disappointment. I don't know that I thought that Jimmy was going to hang around and win the thing, but I thought he was going to really give us something.
Yeah, he was really pressing the issue. He just drove over his head. It's literally the same thing he did at the Roval.
Yeah, except on the end of the first stage.
Yeah, he was going to win, and Jimmy Johnson has not won a stage since it's existed.
Yeah,
in its entire existence. So he was about to win his first stage. Think of that. And he knuckleheaded it.
Yep.
There's no other way around it. And we were messaging during the race, and it's this is, if Jimmy Johnson can win this race, how great would that be? And not even 10 laps later, he was gone. That was it.
And here's where we were with this. So I'm watching. NASCAR has a great setup for the media for these races right now that you get the live scoring on the screen right next to you, like you're sitting at the track. You've got alternate camera angles, all this stuff. You got spotter, the spotter audio is all free, which anybody can get that. And so I'm sitting here kind of live tweeting during the race, and he's leading, gets the white flag, and I look over at the scoring monitor. The scoring monitor was about a lap ahead. Caution pops up on the scoring monitor. I'm like, okay, it's over. I hear over the scanner, I hear put it out. So I'm like, okay, that's it. And I tweet Jimmy Johnson stage winner. And then all of a sudden I look up and the TV feed catches up and he's freaking wrecking off of turn 2. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So quick delete to the tweet there.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, you got to do that once in a while.
Oh man, it's like, I mean, everything looked from the screens like it was done.
Well, he had it in the bag. Everything looked from.
And that's the thing. He didn't even have to pass He didn't have to pass Buescher.
No, you could have just let off the gas and let him go. I don't know what he was doing.
Ah.
I don't know what he was doing. That's a knucklehead move. Yeah, and Ricky Stenhouse, you mentioned him. That was, I mean, that was tee it up, hit that drive 450 yards. That was as easy as it gets.
Well, here's the stats. Here's the results from the official results from NASCAR. 40th place, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Laps completed 0.
0. Didn't even make it around. I don't know. I feel bad for him a little bit, but still, everybody else.
He was so far down on the apron, man. I don't feel bad for him because it was a bonehead move. And,
exactly.
And
I know.
You know, we've given Stenhouse a lot of crap on this podcast, and I don't think he really is Ricky Stenhouse. But, you know, when he gives himself the reputation, then he does something boneheaded. But, hey, somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to make that stupid mistake on the first lap after, 2 months off. It's inevitable. It's just lucky Ricky, it was him.
Yeah. The poor guy. I mean, he gets a lot of crap on social media, and some of it's deserved, but still, good grief.
So this race,
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna go ahead. You can transition. I think we spent enough time on poor Ricky.
This race was there were a lot of storylines in this race, and I was telling James before we started recording this that it's tough because you got to go back and remember the race before the last race because we're doing 2 races in a week now.
Yeah, we have never done this on the pod.
No.
I can remember we've never had to do 2, and we're gonna have to do it. I think we're gonna have to do it a couple of times during the season.
Yeah.
So this is our first go round. So bear with us, folks. We're gonna be talking about 2 races on the pod for.
So if we just forget something that's like really obvious, then like James said, forgive us. But
well, if you listen to the show, that's what we do anyway.
Right.
So you're fine.
But there were a lot of storylines, and I feel like that a lot of those storylines, James, were caused because of no practice. Like, we saw a lot of guys do really well in the beginning. You got Jimmy Johnson, you got William Byron. They both threw it away with accidents, in trouble. You had Martin Truex Jr., who was just terrible. He was awful.
Out to lunch.
Yeah, comes back for a 6th place finish.
They patched up the nose and figured out what was going on with the aero, and that car came to life.
Right. And so, I mean, there was a real big mix of things. The
track was, it seemed, hot. It was hotter than the blazes out there from people who were there saying it. And, we like hot, slippery racetracks. So that was playing a little bit of a role.
We like tire wear. You always get that at Darlington.
Yeah, we had the Blue Emu thing.
Yeah.
That was noticeable.
Right. Almost forgot about that.
My favorite tweet was Blue Emu just quit before the race was over or whatever. It was a pun on what happened with Bubba Wallace, basically.
Yep.
So yeah, that was good. And by the way, don't put stickers on the walls in Darlington, especially in the corners.
I'm honestly surprised this doesn't happen more often because most of the graphics on the walls now are stickers. And
right. Well, in most places, I would say it would probably be fine.
Right.
Except for Darlington.
Yeah.
That's probably
the track
one
known for rubbing
Bristol,
the wall.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe don't do it at Bristol, and that might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, we had interesting stuff there. Matt Kenseth, let's talk about him a little bit. 10th place finish, 0 practice. This is a guy who jumped in the car, never turned a lap with this team, never turned a lap in this configuration, running at the toughest track possibly on the circuit, and he manages a 10th place finish. I know I said a couple podcasts ago, probably, I don't know. I think I was a little off that night. It's been really crazy in my life, James. I think that I was a little impaired that night, and and I said something along the lines of that I could see Matt Kenseth not getting into the Hall of Fame.
That was pretty funny.
I will backtrack on that. And
even
saying,
that was probably a worse take than my Dale Jr.
Let
take.
me clarify that
it's
take.
It's right there.
Let me clarify that take before I get into this. What I meant more so was if you're going to say a championship gets you into the Hall of Fame, that championship that Matt Kenseth won is the least qualifying championship to get you into the Hall of Fame. Does that make more sense? It's still stupid.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
All right. Either way,
I think you might just have to, like we're gonna get into our picks and fantasy at the end of the show, and I'm gonna be doing the same thing. Like, let's just move on. I'm gonna take the L today.
Yeah. It was stupid. So Matt Kenseth, I think this shows that the dude's got talent, right?
Well, he does. No, he has talent. He has talent, and Matt can drive. Matt can drive. I don't care if he's 48 years old, but this is what you bring him in for. You bring him in, and he's going to be steady. And, Matt Kenseth has a lot of experience and is, a damn fine race car driver. He was one of the best in the world at one time and still is. I mean, technically, he's in the Cup Series now. But this is a steady, sturdy Matt Kenseth performance. I'm a little surprised he was in the top 10, but I'll say that I am more impressed with what Tyler Reddick and John Hunter Nemechek did than Matt Kenseth. I think that is that's not getting enough talk. Matt Kenseth is fine. That's a great story. We should acknowledge
did you look at the notes? It's like right below the Matt Kenseth thing.
I know.
Calm down.
I know. I'm jumping on our notes.
Pump the brakes. Let's talk about
I'm trying to tell people how I feel about where I think this Matt Kenseth thing falls.
Does Matt Kenseth get a win this year, James?
No, I'm going to stand firm on that.
Really?
I don't think he wins the race. No.
I think he does.
He might luck into one.
I think he gets a win.
I think he's not going to
He's driving a
outright win a race.
Chevrolet's been good, we're talking all over each other. We're so
okay.
excited because there's racing, guys.
I know we are. It's okay. Yeah, I know. We are both pumped up.
We don't have to talk about stupid video games this week.
Eric, I have so much energy for this podcast tonight that I haven't had in so long. I am ready to go.
See, that's the problem. Me, because I'm not. I'm tired. So
I'll bring you back. I'll bring you up. It's okay.
I think he gets a win. I think Chevrolet's good enough this year. I think Kenseth is good enough in general. I think Kenseth gets a win. I don't think he contends for a championship, but I think he gets into the top 16 with a win.
Yeah, I don't think he wins a race. It's going to be that's a tall task to say. He's not going to flat out. He's not going to go
10th
out
with no practice.
Yeah. Well, so did well. I mean,
yeah, but
John Hunter Nemechek finished 9th and he's never ran at Darlington before.
This is different though, because Kenseth. Okay, so I'm gonna give my typical Dale Jr. download plugs in this podcast because there's been a couple great episodes. So Junior talked to Kenseth, and one of the things that I don't think we think about as much that Junior pointed out in talking to Kenseth a couple weeks ago is that there's so much more that goes into this. So there's when these guys roll out one of these chassis, it's a hunk of metal, and then you mount everything in there to the driver's specifications and what they're comfortable with. So all the drivers have different seat positioning. All the drivers have different positioning, the pedals, the wheel, all of that. They all have different steering boxes they run. The Chevrolet steering box is going to be different than the Ford steering box that he's used to. There's all these things that are different that without being able to get in the car and test those things, there's more to it than just he hasn't been in a car in a couple years and he hasn't run this aero package. There's more that anybody else would get ready with practice that he couldn't get ready this week. So I think that makes the task a little bit of a bigger deal. Is it miraculous? No, but it's a bigger deal, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's a great run by Matt Kenseth. I don't know.
I'm not saying he's got or anything because he did it, but I think it shows that there's quite a bit of talent there.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, the guy's he's approaching 700 Cup Series starts. He's a great driver. He's been around a long time. He's great.
Yeah. But I think it definitely cements more why Chip brought him in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a smart move. Could Ross Chastain have come in and done this? Yeah, sure. But he could he have held the, is he a little bit more sporadic? Sure. Right. That's true as well.
Would Chastain have gotten a 10th place finish at Darlington? He has run well there. in the Xfinity car.
He could have. I mean,
could
again,
have,
we're doing the what if game.
Probably not. So I think Chip looks really smart after this.
Sure, yeah. No, it's a great hire. It's great for the sponsors, like we said when they first brought him in.
Yeah.
And this is why you bring him in. And Credit One Bank got a nice bump for being able to run up front with a solid finish. So yeah, great run for Matt Kenseth.
One more thing too, again on the Dale Jr. download. So Kurt Busch was the guest this week, and I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. But Kurt talked a little bit about how Kenseth became the choice for that ride. And it sounds like he kind of dropped the message that we kind of assumed a couple weeks ago when we heard this announcement, was that Chastain was basically locked in to run the Xfinity Series championship. And of course, Chip wanted to run for the championship with the 42 car as well. The sponsors wanted to run for the championship. So they couldn't bring Chastain in because he'd either have to, decommit from that gig or not run for a championship in the Cup car.
The long-term plan, right?
Yeah. So that's why Chastain wasn't the choice. He probably would have been the first choice otherwise. So.
Yeah, and the fact that he was probably going to be in the one car within a year or two anyway,
right,
too. So
exactly.
So there's the whole thing's just chaos for them. But again, you bring in Matt Kenseth, you have a steady hand at the wheel, in more ways than one, on and off the track, and he's a great addition to that program too. He's he's going to bring all that knowledge, all that leadership. He's just a rock. He's going to be good. It's going to be good for him.
One more before we go to the rookies. Kyle Busch starts in the back with inspection issues and pretty much does nothing the whole day.
Yeah, he was out to lunch all day too. He was just kind of a lap down, not much of a factor.
Yep, he ended up 26th. And, it would have been really easy to go, well, obviously Toyota's still struggling after the break. I kind of forgot how bad Toyota was in the first four races.
Yep.
But then Denny Hamlin wins and Kyle finishes second the next race.
Yeah, on Wednesday, right.
I mean, it was rain shortened, so that has a little to do with it, but I don't know. Just an anomaly, you think? Just Darlington's tough and it's hard to come from the back.
First race back, Darlington's tough. These guys are used to that kind of seat time, right? So, especially Kyle Busch, who has more seat time than anyone. I mean, it's okay. These two races to me felt a little bit like wild cards anyway. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, who would have thought you'd get John Hunter Nemechek in the top 10 too? It's like there's these little weird things that were going to happen in this first race that you're not going to see, at your standard, NASCAR weekend. So I think Kyle Busch is just being on the other side of that thing. But he bounced back. He did fine on Wednesday too. So
okay, let's talk about rookies, James. Tyler Reddick comes home with a 7th place finish. Looked like he had a car that could even contend.
That dude's good,
led laps, didn't he? Didn't he lead laps?
That dude's good. He had 0 laps led.
Okay,
on the day.
I was wrong. But I think more impressive than Tyler Reddick was John Hunter Nemechek. Comes home with a 9th place finish. He's in
a legit 9th place finish.
Yeah.
He's not lucking into it. Yeah.
He's in a like mid-tier, low-tier team, not one that should be up there running with these guys that he's running with.
Not at all, no.
Of course, he didn't have the same luck on Wednesday.
No.
But I mean, I think John Hunter has impressed. Period this season.
He's impressed his whole career. I feel like he's been a pretty darn good driver. I know he didn't win in the Xfinity Series last year, but he does have a win in the Xfinity Series, and he's good, man. He won in underfunded equipment in the Gander Outdoors Series.
That's what I was going to say. That's one thing to look at with John Hunter is
figures out a way to do well.
He's never really had a chance in top equipment yet.
No.
Everything he's accomplished, he's done in underfunded stuff.
I mean, his one Xfinity win was for Chip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you give him a good car in the Xfinity Series and look out.
This is a guy that I think he's fallen victim to. He's fallen victim to the fact there's just too many good young guys right now, and there's not enough seats for these guys because John Hunter's one that should be in a better ride than what he's in. Yeah. And I mean, Joe was good. Joe was a good driver. He wasn't
fast. Yeah, he was fast. Front row Joe.
Great at qualifying. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, won some Cup races.
But I think John Hunter's been the biggest surprise to me. I mean, when we talked about who the rookie of the year was going to be, we didn't even put John Hunter in the running.
No, and a lot of that is based on the car he's driving too.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. Like, but I mean, gosh, he comes out at Daytona and he almost gets a top 10. And then he kind of finishes where we expect. He's, in the 20s there, and then bam, Darlington, a nice run with no practice. He just goes out there his first trip to Darlington in a Cup car, and dude was good.
Yeah, it's again, we pretty much said the rookie of the year battle was going to come down to Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick.
It's a one horse race in my opinion now. Holy crap. Yeah, we'll talk about that dude in a second. But,
yeah, Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, and Christopher Bell were our picks. And let's see, I'm looking right now. Where are we at? Why did that look different now? Tyler Reddick's leading the rookie battle right now, 125 points. Cole Custer, John Hunter, Nemechek. Christopher Bell's not even in the conversation.
Yeah, he's not
60 points back.
Yeah, he's not had very much luck. Yeah.
I mean,
not been good.
Brennan Poole is only 74 back, and Quinn Hoff is only 102 back.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's Chris Bell, and he might have other issues now with team ownership being kind of strained at this point too. Yeah. So that's might not be a good situation for Chris Bell as we initially thought. Yeah. But it's early still. There's time. There'll be time.
Yeah, I want to put John Hunter back in the conversation for that rookie of the year.
He's in the conversation, yeah. Yeah.
It's looking like he might be one to consider. So again, Kevin Harvick gets the win. Anything really to talk about there with Harvick?
50 wins.
Yeah, I mean, 50 wins. Yeah,
that's huge. Yeah, that's huge.
Harvick said post-race it was the weirdest win ever without any fans there. You could see how uncomfortable he was. He talked about in the post-race press conference, which again, credit to NASCAR that we can participate in remotely. It's awesome. It's basically a Zoom call with the driver in their motorhome, and he talked about he wasn't sure when he got out of the car. Did he need to put a mask on? Did he not? Like, what does he got to do? Obviously, everybody's trying to be as careful as possible and not break any rules and get anybody in trouble. But like you said, 50 wins for Kevin Harvick. That's something.
It's. I mean, he's already a Hall of Fame type driver, but still 50 to hit that 50 mark. As great as Tony Stewart was, that's something he didn't do. He finished one short. So
right.
Now he's in there with some elite company. Only 13 other drivers have done it. So he's. He's well on his way to a handful more. I know Kyle Busch is in that conversation too. So, but yeah, he's, one of the greats. Right. That move to Stewart-Haas Racing will forever be the moment for him that just completely changed everything.
Yeah,
it changed the trajectory of his whole career, and it's not even really at the second half of his career. It's not even to that point yet. He's been dominating, winning races every year with them. So. Always fast. He's at the point in his career where he's going to start trending downwards as far as some of those abilities. I don't want to say that too loud. But he's been in the top 10 in every race this year so far, and when that dude gets out front, he's tough, man.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just if he's in the top 6 at the end of a race, look out.
Yeah. Yep.
They call him the closer, right? On Fox.
Exactly.
And there's a reason for that.
Yep.
So question on Harvick. I know Jimmy Johnson skewed all of this with his 7 championships, but how big of a travesty is it if Harvick doesn't win another title? I mean, considering where he's at, he should have a couple, right?
I feel like his window with Stewart-Haas was those first handful of years, and he got the one. I feel like he should have that year, that 2018 season. That was kind of the bubble bursting because he was the best guy. I don't know, that was a 3-dog battle there. He could have got that one. All those guys were disappointed that didn't win when Kyle Busch and Harvick didn't win that championship. I know that one kind of stung.
Right.
But yeah, man, he's. It sucks that he's probably not gonna get more than the one. But he's got it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's something that we need to look down on him because of.
Yeah,
like I
it
said,
sucks, though.
Jimmy screwed it up for a lot of people, and then you had Tony Stewart in there with his, and
Yeah, and that's that's what I've always said. I've said it on this podcast a couple of times. That's one of the great endearing things about Stewart's career is somehow, some way, he figured out how to win two more in the Jimmy Johnson
right.
era. He bookended the 5 Jimmy Johnson championships, but he got multiple. And Kyle Busch is the same kind of thing. I know he got his second towards the end of Jimmy Johnson's run, but Kyle Busch was able to get 2 during some of that Jimmy Johnson era. So
right, and that's the thing that Harvick's got stacked against him now is you've got guys like Martin Truex Jr. You've got guys like Kyle Busch. These guys are going to start winning some championships here now, and it's going to be
Kyle's
tough.
Time.
Yeah,
it's
This is
time.
definitely Kyle's. This is the time for Kyle.
Yeah, this is time for Kyle to rack up to 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and then the other problem that Harvick has is that Kyle's there, but then you've got guys like Chase Elliott. You've got some of these young guys too that are going to start doing it too, and it's gonna be tough to get more.
Kevin Harvick though has done literally everything in the sport. Yeah. He's won every race. He's he's got the championship, so he's secure. I would like to see him get one more before it's all said and done. But
I agree.
Who knows? It's gonna be tough. It's tough. Championships don't come easy, man. There's a lot of great drivers who don't have one.
Yeah,
so
I agree. But the only thing is I don't know why I like to root against Harvick when he's in it. Not during the race, but just championship wise, I don't know. It's just fun to root against him to me. And maybe it's because I'm a Kyle Busch fan, so there's that rivalry that's not really there, but is there. There's
a great heel. He's a good heel.
But he's not anymore, though. He's not a heel anymore.
He was.
I want him to be. That's what I want out of Harvick.
Yeah.
I want the heel back. Harvick was such a good pest.
He was, even during that Brad Keselowski run when he was pushing him into the fight and stuff. I mean, that was
classic Harvick right there.
Yeah, he doesn't do that stuff anymore, but he's settled down in his older age. He's a dad.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from Darlington race number 1, the Real Heroes
Darlington
400?
1? No, that was man. It was great to get back to racing though. Didn't it feel good to turn the TV on and?
It did, but you know what? I felt like 15 laps in, I'm like I lost the whole "this is special" thing. Like it was another race again, and
but isn't that
that's great.
Yeah,
I wanted to appreciate it a little bit longer, and I don't think I got to appreciate it enough.
Yeah,
nobody's fault but mine. But
no, but it's good to feel that normalcy though a little bit.
Definitely, it still feels a little weird. Like it's almost too much normalcy when things aren't normal yet. It almost makes you look outside and go, oh crap, we're still dealing with this stuff, Yeah. I don't know. I'm not complaining. I'm glad it's back. Hopefully they can keep things going. Hopefully there's no issues.
Hey, look, we had two major events or 3, I guess, if you want to count today's race in NASCAR. And so far we haven't had any bad press on it. So
yeah, knock on some wood on that one.
Knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood.
No, I will say that though. I mean, short of people bitching on social media about a couple spotters being close together in the stands,
which was stupid. I
mean, exactly. The thing is, James, is it's a team sport. You're not going to be able to social distance 100%. NASCAR is doing everything right with clearing people out, making sure that only certain people are in contact. The spotters weren't even allowed in the track. They sat in their cars before the race and then went up in the stands. I mean, the guys got to talk to each other. That's part of the sport. Yeah,
and it's all about taking the knowledge that we now know and having good behavior. Yeah. And I didn't see anything that was. I mean, all the teams wore masks. Yeah. They were, everybody looked the part.
To be quite honest, these guys are all outside. For the most part, they're 6 feet away from each other. I personally, as somebody who has been very, very much on the wear masks when you go out, social distance, don't go to the store if you don't need to, I've really been preaching that, maybe more than a lot of people. I would not even bat an eye if I saw them not wearing masks at the track. Yeah. I'm glad they are, but it wouldn't concern me if they weren't.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that they're doing it. It's a great step. It's proper precautions. Right. Like we all should be doing. We all should take proper precautions. Thank you, NASCAR, for showing us that you can do stuff now. Showing these other sports leagues, like you can do stuff. You can go out and have sports and just be smart about it. Temperature checks, great.
NASCAR has bigger
All that stuff.
challenges than some other sports, but they've also got less challenges because of the fact
Yeah,
they're
they've got
outside.
some advantages. Exactly. Yep, they've got some advantages.
So,
But-
all right. With that, we move on to the Toyota
Wednesday.
500K from Darlington Raceway on Wednesday night. We got an early start at first because of rain, and then ended up starting late, did it? I can't even remember now. That was
It started a little late. Yeah, they tried to get it to go early, and then they had to make it late.
That's
and
right.
It was fine. Everything was fine.
So Denny Hamlin gets the win on that one, putting the whole, and Kyle Busch finishes second, putting the whole Toyota is still behind in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
So lots to talk about here as well.
Well, and I think just to piggyback on that, I think a Chevrolet would have had something to say about that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
At the end of that race, but
yeah, we were rain shortened on this one.
Yeah.
Which was disappointing because it was just getting good. I thought we were going to see our first COVID-19 fight.
Yeah, I've
I've
got a lot to say about that.
Yeah. So first Wednesday night race in the Cup Series in forever.
It was beautiful. Wednesday night racing, yes.
It was
this is
great.
what the fans have been preaching for years.
Yep.
Thank you.
Exactly. I'm glad we finally got to do it. I hope that this becomes a thing more so than just COVID-19 stuff. Couple things to talk about on this. Oh, I have the ratings here. We'll talk about the ratings in the news. We'll hold off on that.
Yeah,
it's easier to talk about it together. So, I
tweeted about the ratings today. I'm not happy. I've got problems.
2 of the 3 best moments from the weekend happened during this race. I would say the third one is definitely the battle today in the Xfinity race to the finish. But the 2 good ones that we had in this one was Kyle Busch wrecking Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin's mask.
I didn't think you were going to go there, but you did.
So let's talk about Kyle and Chase first. Kyle tries to duck in behind Chase, completely turns him head on to the inside wall. Chase is pissed, gets out of the car, flips him the mega bird as Kyle drives by. Fans go crazy. You know, if they were at the track, they probably would have been booing Kyle. But on social media, they're all like, well, are they going to find Chase because he walked out on the track and you're not supposed to do that? And he flipped the bird, and you're not supposed to do that. Steve O'Donnell says, no, they're not going to find him. Said that he didn't go close enough to the track. He behaved himself and stayed clear and all that and got to express his opinion. I'm glad about that decision. I don't know about you, James.
Yeah, you should leave him alone on that, yeah.
I think, I'll tell you what, it guarantee it was a GIF, and I guarantee you it was the most talked about thing on Wednesday night.
I saw it already. Here's what I have to say about 2020.
Yeah.
And there's Chase Elliott standing there, yeah.
And so this is, okay, this is one of those guys in the Cup Series right now that doesn't have a personality, James.
Oh, Jesus.
No personality. We don't have the personalities like we had back in the old days.
I mean, I've got 10 personalities. I'm looking at them right now. I mean, come on. It doesn't take a whole lot of personality to throw up a finger. I don't understand that argument, but
it's Chase. I like to see some passion out of Chase.
I mean, he had it. You know, his crew chief fought his battle for him on pit road too.
That is true as well.
Yeah. So okay, that's fine.
Fox is killing the audio on the F word. Come on, guys, just let it play out.
Yeah, they had to do the apology on that too. Yeah.
Stupid. I've never understood the apology for the swear word that somebody else says. Why does Mike Joy have to apologize for the swear word that Kyle Busch says? Come on.
Kyle,
it's stupid.
To Kyle's credit, I mean, he was an arrogant about the wreck at the end of the race, like he usually is. Yeah. But at least he spoke the truth. Like he had, at least.
Well, in the post race press conference, it was late. I wasn't going to tune in, but I tuned in for Kyle's interview because I wanted to hear what he had to say. And he was very, very eloquent. He was in a very good mood in the post race press conference.
He got to keep his second place finish. So yeah, he wasn't wrecked.
Yeah, I mean, but generally, Kyle would be really defensive going in there. Pockris asked him a question right off the bat. Pockris was the first question. I can't remember what Bob asked, but I know Kyle was asked if he expected Chase to retaliate, all that stuff. And, again, Kyle was good. He was pretty good on the post-race, interview during the race. He did get asked kind of a dumb question, so he had a dumb answer, as you'd expect. And he looked like he withheld the eye roll, but there was a little bit of one when he turned away and the interview was done. But I thought he handled it pretty well. So let's talk about the wreck, James. Kyle says he was looking in his rearview mirror, tried to duck in behind, and misjudged it and wrecked Chase. Of course, people hate Kyle Busch, says he wrecked him on purpose. What do you think?
I don't think he wrecked him on purpose. I don't like that argument, but Kyle Busch is the king of I don't give a bleep.
Yeah.
And he just threw it in there. He's done this before. This isn't anything he's not done.
I think if Kyle could take it back, I think Kyle misjudged. I think it's legit. I think Kyle
wanted that spot and just went in, and I think he just
we're talking what 20 to go or whatever at this point. I mean, he was ducking in.
Line.
He wasn't being careful, but he also had no intention of making contact.
No, he didn't. No, he just didn't care.
Right. Yeah.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't letting off the gas. He wasn't going to give Chase any space. If that was Eric Jones, he may have given him some space. Possibly.
Oh yeah, he would have definitely given him more room. But I mean,
he wasn't giving Chase that. He wasn't going to give Chase that benefit either.
This isn't Denny Hamlin at Martinsville either.
No,
I mean, this isn't I'm trying to bump
him
him out of the way. This is I'm just trying to get in position and
I'm just taking. No, this is my race. This is the Kyle Busch mindset. This is my racetrack. I'm taking that spot.
Yep,
that's what he's doing, regardless of, like you said, he wasn't going to try to hit him, but he was going to where he wanted to go.
Yep, and I mean, you got a car closing from behind you. You could practically see it. You can't see through the window, but you could practically see. He's looking up in the mirror because he's looking where the car is behind him. He's not judging what's in front of him.
No.
And there's a car there. And, you expect the guy on the outside to have the run and be able to pull ahead of you. And Chase did kind of stall out a little bit. I think he had a car right in front of him, which was part of the problem. And so, I think it's just a racing accident. People want to make more out of it than it is, and that's great. I mean, I hope there's a rivalry here. I hope that Chase gets fed up with Kyle and they have a couple run-ins. I mean, what better? The biggest villain in NASCAR with the most popular driver.
Yeah, this is what you want. This is exactly what you want. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so, I hope Chase goes and, doesn't take him out, but roughs him up a little bit, makes it difficult for him.
Race hard.
Yep.
Yeah, we want to see hard racing. And, on a Wednesday night, I mean, I can't get much better than that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think fans would have liked to have seen it the other way around. They would have loved to have seen Chase dump Kyle, but,
right.
You get the fireworks a little bit. This is the Tony Stewart throwing the helmet, at Matt Kenseth moment. This is what we watch NASCAR for. This is part of it. This is a big piece of the pie, the entertainment factor.
Boy, was I so disappointed there were no fans in the stands for that, though, because I would have loved to hear.
Oh, they would have lost it. Yeah, they would have lost their mind, especially when he pulled that finger out. And you and I joke about the personality thing, but that was fantastic. I mean, I loved that.
I like to see that from Chase. I want to see Chase fired up, and you don't see Chase fired up. He's just not, which is not unusual. Again,
he doesn't get rattled.
We talk about the big personalities in NASCAR and how they were again, James, I'm bringing it back. All these great personalities in the 80s, but his dad was the same way. His dad didn't get riled up. Every once in a while, he'd have something to say, but generally he was quiet. He was reserved. He didn't get excited, and Chase is no different. Yeah,
Chase is cut from the Jimmy Johnson cloth a little bit.
I don't think so. I think it's different. I think Jimmy's is a calculated. I think that's just the personality of the Elliots is just not to be over the top. Jimmy was groomed to be that way.
Right.
you know?
Yeah, Jimmy is definitely the manufactured vanilla ice cream.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
But Jimmy, later in his career, Jimmy has let people in just a little bit, but again, it's all calculated.
Yeah. And I mean, I think James and I are, maybe not cheer for Jimmy Johnson to win every weekend, but James and I think are giant Jimmy Johnson fans in who he is as a person. He's
for what he's done
awesome
for
guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chase Elliott and I, we share so many common. Like he loves Eric Church, I love Eric Church. Like he's kind of one. I don't dislike Chase Elliott by any means. Not saying that he doesn't have personality. It's just kind of a quip, but
he hasn't shown his personality. He just hasn't.
Yeah, he hasn't.
And he's got a good personality. He's in that Blaney crowd. You do get to see it on Blaney's podcast when he's on there and stuff like that when they're goofing around. He just doesn't show it at the track.
Yeah, I've seen him multiple times, like on Marty Smith, with Marty Smith and stuff, and he's always just down to earth, cool dude. Like you'd want to. He's kind of like Dale Jr., I guess, like that, where you'd want to have a beer with him.
Yeah, he definitely. Okay, so like Jimmy Johnson, I remember the first time that I saw Jimmy Johnson. It was at Michigan, and I was just standing in the crowd, and he rode in on his golf cart and rode by me. And Jimmy goes by you, and most people, if you've ever met a celebrity, A lot of times you realize when you see them that, oh, they're just another person. But Jimmy didn't have that feeling to me. Jimmy felt like royalty to me when he went by me.
Bigger, yeah.
Whereas Chase, when you bump into him, when you see him, when you pass by him, is just a dude.
You want me to know?
Just a guy.
Want me to tell you how I felt when Kyle Busch rode by me on a golf cart?
I don't know. Do I?
No. Kyle, poor Kyle. He gets a lot of crap.
He does.
It's okay.
He does. Yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah, he does.
And so Denny Hamlin gets the win, takes a moment to put on his face mask, and it is great. Denny says after the race,
so well done.
He actually he's ordered a smiling one and a frowning one depending on his mood after the race, but he only had the smiling one this weekend.
That's all he needed.
Yep. How great was it though? It was awesome.
Oh my, yeah.
It was one of those things like it for all of us. It feels weird to see the drivers in the mask, and to see that it just goes. You just get to laugh, and it gets that tension out of the situation.
Didn't you feel like Kevin Harvick looked like such a badass with his mask on though?
Yeah.
He looks like a Western villain.
There's some good masks and there's some ones that aren't so good.
Kyle's is a little bit cartoonish.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin looks like a badass.
I'm a little jealous of some of the masks actually. I want to figure out where some of these guys are getting them because I want to wear a couple.
I like those. I like the simplicity of the Team Penske ones.
Yes.
I like the all black with the little logo on the corner. I would get one of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. 100%.
Yep.
So yeah, Denny Hamlin gets a win, second win of the season for him.
Great racing on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think Wednesday night was better.
The rain being in the forecast always makes racing a little bit better, which I've always enjoyed.
We had essentially a 300-mile race, James.
It was great.
That's what we need. This is especially okay. Here's the deal, guys. If I'm for shorter races in the Cup Series. My feeling still is we run the
especially on Wednesday.
Exactly. If we're going to run a weeknight race, 300 miles, no bigger.
250 miles, I wouldn't even be upset with.
Yep.
I think it would be fine.
But yeah, my feeling is you run the Daytona 500, you run the Coca-Cola 600, you run the Southern 500, and every other race is under 300 miles. Period.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. Talladega, I would keep. I
don't think so.
Yeah, I still like Talladega.
I do, but I don't think so because nothing happens until the last 20 laps anyway.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we can argue schematic. I mean, you can make it a 400 miler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't think so. I think the truck races are the best races at Talladega because they're short.
Yeah, I mean, you look at places like Texas. We do not need to be doing 500 miles at Texas. Holy crap!
You do not need to be doing 500 miles anywhere that is longer than a mile.
That's not Daytona. Yeah, that's not Daytona. Daytona.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the special races.
Sacred. Yeah. Coke 600. Like you said, those are the sacred ones.
I'd be all right with having a longer race than the Coca-Cola 600 as long as it's once. You just don't. It's a special thing that makes that race special. When the 600 is only 100 miles longer than any other race, it's not as special as it would be if it was 300 miles longer than any other race.
Yeah. and I can't remember if you and I had the conversation about NASCAR having, instead of calling them the crown jewels, we did like the golf thing and we called them the majors, like the NASCAR majors.
We might have discussed that. I can't remember
if we did that. Like in golf. So in golf, there's the Masters, the U.S. Open, so on and so forth. We have in NASCAR, we've got Daytona, we've got Darlington, Coke 600, and I don't know, pick a fourth, Talladega or whatever.
Yeah.
Those would be your NASCAR majors, and then you could count in the history books. Kevin Harvick is a, one-time Cup champion and a I don't know, what would you say, 10-time major champion.
Right.
Whatever. I just think that would be kind of a cool way to look at some of the history of NASCAR, but it's
I like that. I mean, the only other race that we consider somebody a champion for winning is the Daytona 500.
Yeah,
but I think I agree.
Brickyard, I think at one point the Brickyard had that going for it, but that's been watched a little bit.
Yeah, it's disappointing because as lame as the Brickyard race has become, it's still a very meaningful race.
I mean, Indianapolis, it's always going to be special.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, no matter what, you could race shopping carts at Indy, and it's still going to be special.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to talk about with these three races?
Man, I loved it. I don't know. It's so great to be back.
I'm glad we got both Cup races in on their scheduled day. That was good.
Yeah. Quick shout out to Bubba Wallace, who's having quietly a very good season.
Yeah.
He's got like a 17th place average finish, and last year he was like around 26th. So continued success, Bubba. We root for Bubba on our
Right.
on our podcast. So Clint Boyer was really good.
Clint Boyer was spectacular.
Last night, but bumped the wall a little bit, and that kind of took him out of contention. But led 71 laps, won the stages. Great race for him.
So I got a question for you on that, the Boyer thing, and I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. So the Xfinity Series, we saw a bunch of cars bounce off the wall today, and it didn't cause much of an issue because they have the composite bodies, the plastic bodies, versus the steel bodies that we have in the Cup Series still. Steel bodies tend to, especially with the flares they have on them, as soon as they scrape the wall, they cut tires down.
Yep.
Does this make another case for the composite bodies in the Cup Series?
I don't know about that. I like that you should be punished for hitting the wall. Even at Darlington, there should be some punishment
There's
there.
too much punishment though.
For the Cup guys, you're
Yeah.
probably right about that. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek, he had some issues, I know, on Wednesday. Trying to think of some other guys who had issues. Blaney, he pounded it pretty good. Lots of guys were struggling.
The fact that we can't weld parts on these cars like we used to, I just don't see the point in the steel bodies anymore.
Can we get back to sticking 2x4s on the right side of the cars? It's good stuff right there. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I
think composite bodies. It's cheaper. It's a better way to
where
go.
we're going. I mean, we're getting there. We're supposed to be next year. It'll be 2022 now, but
does the new car have composite bodies?
I think they're going that direction, aren't they?
Does it? I don't know. I guess I don't.
So,
I guess I don't remember hearing about the body itself.
One other thing I noticed from the Xfinity Series race, you may disagree with me on that, but higher horsepower, lower downforce. I mean, I don't know. The Xfinity Series race looked really good to me.
Yeah, it did. There was a lot more sliding in the turns.
Yeah, making these cars hard to drive, which I like. In the no practice thing, I kind of like that too, where it's kind of hard to drive. We saw so many weird things. I don't know if we're going to cover them all, but making these cars hard to drive for these guys. I love that. I've always loved that. That's the Carl Edwards methodology.
And I don't think that the lack of practice is going to matter at all the tracks, but at Darlington it really matters.
You could tell Wednesday night though that these teams had a race under their belt.
Oh,
I think, a little bit too. They were a little bit more sketchy on Sunday than they were last night.
Yep.
But
trying to think, there was something else I was going to say. How about Kevin Harvick turning their team turning a car around?
And finish third. Yeah. Yep.
And
led laps again.
Right. I mean, I would say Harvick probably most successful of the week. Don't you think?
Oh, by far. Yeah. He was the guy. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, gets the win, finishes third in the second race. You can't really, nobody else did that good. Yeah.
Yep. And Denny Hamlin solidified his spot in the playoffs for sure. Now he's got 2 wins to go along with Joey Logano's 2.
Yeah.
So those guys are happy. They're locked into the playoffs. They're thinking about the next time they go to Darlington when stuff is on the line. So playoff be damned.
Couple surprises in Wednesday's race before we move on. Let's see. Jimmy Johnson wound up 8th, but really wasn't a factor all day after running so well on Saturday. That was kind of a surprise for me. Definitely bit me in the butt in the fantasy. Eric Jones ran well both races. He runs
good there. Yep. He just runs good there. Yeah, he's
looked
good
like he was going to get himself a win last night, but then rain came and it didn't quite work out. The other one that surprised me was Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch finishes 15th after a spectacular run on Saturday. I was kind of expecting more there. I think that's about it.
Blaney was a disappointment most of the weekend, I thought. Because he's been so good all year, but he'll be fine. Blaney's going to be fine. That car is still pretty good. I mean, that's probably the fastest car in the series still right now. But yeah, he had a rough weekend comparatively. But.
Right. How about Alex Bowman? Alex Bowman was really impressive.
Yeah, he's good,
both
man.
Races.
Yeah, he's a problem.
And we didn't talk about Bowman that he's he signed a contract extension now. He's got another year with Hendrick. Seals up the 88 car for a potential other driver to come in. And I don't know. I think for the first time, James, I feel like Bowman's a title contender.
He's a top.
He's not a shoe-in, but he's
a top 8. He's a top 8 qualifier, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
He's gonna make a run in the playoffs. These racetracks that eat tires, the dude can drive because he's good. He's good at these types of tracks.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be around. He's gonna be a problem in the playoffs. He's Yeah, I thought the Hendrick cars overall were really good. They seem to have found some stuff. They weren't as good on Wednesday night, but definitely on Sunday. Like William Byron was good, Jimmy was good, like you said, and definitely Bowman. So yeah, they've got it going on over at Hendrick, and he's the lead dog for him right now.
Yeah. Yep. It definitely has been impressive to see what he's been able to do.
Yeah, he's been good, man. I am not afraid to eat crow, and I'm going to eat crow on that guy because he's going to be around for a while.
I am too. Like, I thought
he can drive, man.
When they named him as the guy for Dale Jr., I thought, what in the world?
Yeah, Rick Hendrick is really, how dare we?
Right.
Say anything against Rick Hendrick. They know what they're doing. You
Right.
know. I think that's why you and I have so much faith in William Byron, though. On the other end, like the results aren't quite there just yet, but man, you can see it. And William Byron or Bowman, you didn't see the results at first, but now it's like the reverse William Byron. It's like, oh yeah, okay, this is why he actually can pull these numbers when given the opportunity.
Right. Okay. I think that covers everything for those races, right?
I think so, man. It was breaking down 2 races. Hang in there. Right? Hang in there with us, folks. Technically 3 because we talked Xfinity already too.
Right.
So.
Right. We're gonna have even more coming this week. So, all right. There's a couple items in the news. Not really much. Obviously, when you've got a race every other day, it's kind of difficult to generate a whole lot of news. One thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was the ratings. So Sunday's race was a 3.7 on Fox. I know that doesn't mean anything to anybody, but Wednesday's was a 1.22 on Fox Sports 1. 2 million viewers, they said, I think, on Wednesday night's race. I'd say that's pretty good for a rain-delayed, rain-shortened race on a Wednesday night.
I'm ticked off.
On cable? I know, I wish it would have been higher, for sure.
Why is Fox Sports not taking advantage of being one of the only networks out there with live sports?
Yeah,
and
what the hell was on Fox on Wednesday
night?
Put
it on Fox proper. What are you doing?
Right.
That race should have. I mean, I saw
it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be on Fox, but when they moved it up, they switched it.
I don't know what they bumped it for.
I think they switched it because of the 6 p.m. start time.
So stupid. It's so dumb. I mean, a 3.7 on Sunday, that is huge.
Yeah.
That's a big number. Yeah. And that's, I was expecting it to be actually a little bit higher, but that's pretty, I mean, you can't ask for higher numbers than that. I mean, that's really good. But a 1-2 on a Wednesday night when there's literally nothing on, there's nothing live on. What are you going to watch? What was it? Tag?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a tag thing or holy moly?
Yeah.
What the hell? All right, why are we running it on FS1? It's just not in enough houses.
No, it's not. And that as much as they've tried to build Fox Sports 1, it's just not enough people have it to where we can get a fair comparison.
If this race was on ESPN, that would have probably been at least a 3, if not a 4.
Think so?
Oh my God, yeah. People are starving for sports.
If you have cable, you're locked into ESPN. That's how ESPN's still around.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're missing the boat there. I wouldn't be putting any of these races, especially during the pandemic. Once the pandemic's over, go ahead and run your races on FS1. Who cares? Because we're gonna come back down from the peak.
Right.
But right now,
this is Fox. They don't know what they're doing.
You got to ride the peak. I don't understand. Hey. They wouldn't take Tom Brady on a Sunday and put him on FS1 in prime time.
Right.
They would put him on Fox.
Let's talk a little bit about Fox real quick, James. So they did the race. They did all 3 races from the Fox studios. Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon were and Adam Alexander, Michael Waltrip, and Clint Boyer were all in the studio for their respective races in Charlotte. The replays and graphics were all done at Fox Studios in California, and of course we had the production on track or at the track. Along with Regan Smith who's the other guy who's
Dillner? It wasn't Dillner.
No,
Yoakum.
Yoakum, yeah. I'm thinking Harvick because he's Harvick's buddy. But yeah, so I think overall, I think considering the situation, Fox did a great job.
Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon were as good as you could ask for.
Yeah,
they did a fantastic job.
So I don't know if you caught the glimpse on the Xfinity race today, but they gave a wide shot of the studio.
Yeah.
And what they did is they took the video wall in the Charlotte studio and took 3 cameras, blended them together, and they could see the whole track just like looking out the front of the tower.
That's what Mike Joy wanted. Yeah, that
was
exactly
awesome.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it last week, where Mike Joy wanted to have as realistic of an experience as he could get.
Yep.
And he knows he's going to miss a couple of things, but he wanted to look out like he would normally.
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't expect anything less from Mike Joy. I think arguably probably the greatest, most professional NASCAR announcer we've ever had. As long as DW is not in the booth with him. But yeah, I think Fox did a terrific job in a very difficult circumstance of covering those races.
And I think they're learning as they go a little bit too. But this is going to change the future of broadcasting, not just NASCAR. I think some live sports. You're not going to see as big of a traveling circus with some of this stuff.
Yep. Yeah, why bring them all if you don't have to?
Why would you do that? It's the same thing we're talking about with our jobs. Why would you have a huge office building when you can just have people work at home?
Yep.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, I thought they did a fantastic job. I didn't. God, if you noticed any hiccups, there weren't many, and I thought the drone was a lot of fun.
The drone was good. I think they might have had a little bit more freedom with that because there were no fans.
The drone during Harvick's burnout was phenomenal. Enjoyed that.
And they finally have a drone that has video quality that's almost as good as their actual production cameras. So it doesn't look ridiculous when they switch to the drone like it did a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was good. The drone, that's a great job.
Yep. Did you see that today when they showed the guy that flies the drone and he's got the VR goggles and all that stuff to fly it?
Yeah, it's great. I know. Awesome. I love that. Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
That job.
Have you ever flown a drone?
I have a funny story about drones in my family.
Did you lose one? Because everybody loses one.
Well, I'll do this right now. It's fine. So I have 2 brothers. They're brothers. I mean, they're
brothers.
They're younger. Yeah, they're brothers. Yeah, and so my youngest brother got a drone for Easter a couple years ago, or had it during Easter. I don't know exactly how it went, but he didn't want my other brother touching it, and it'd be my middle brother. So he's flying the drone around and lands it in the middle of the road as a white Pontiac Grand Am goes driving by and runs it over and scatters the drone everywhere. And then they fought, and it was it's probably my favorite Easter story. So there you go. That's my drone experience.
So I bought one of the cheap $20 ones from Walmart or whatever just to play around in the house before I decided to invest $1,000 into a good one. And I learned that I am not coordinated enough to fly one of those. There's a lot more to it than just flying a helicopter or driving an RC car. There's so much to it.
Yes.
Just not my thing. Too much.
Yep.
Too much. I'll let those guys do it.
The pros. Yeah.
Yep. James, I'm counting on the fact that you hopefully know something about this next one. Otherwise, we're going to gloss over it really quick because I know very little about it. Because it is not of interest to me whatsoever. But NASCAR and IMG Arena announced a global sports betting initiative this week. Mean anything to you? You know anything about it?
All I know is NASCAR is getting into more live betting, and it's a big revenue stream for the sport. So that's a good thing. I saw that they're going to be doing a you can go to your 7-Eleven and do an over-the-counter NASCAR betting too, where you get 3 random drivers and you can win up to $50,000.
Nice.
So NASCAR's definitely invested in the sports betting side of things. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, gambling in sports is legal, now. So more power to them, bring in the revenue. That's about my extent of knowledge on it.
I just know I will go broke if I do it, so I will.
I'm not doing it.
Not to mention the fact that our fantasy picks show that I'm
Jesus
terrible
Christ.
at it.
Yeah. Well, just wait. It's coming for me here in a second.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
James is sticking around making me look good in fantasy, or better.
It's gonna be good.
That doesn't make me look good, but. And last on the news, New Hampshire Motor Speedway announces, or the track president or the governor, I don't know, somebody announced that they expect their date to remain for their scheduled race. They are scheduled to race at New Hampshire July 18th. Don't really have much to add there. Just seems as if NASCAR is saying that they're going to get their date because they wouldn't be talking about it if NASCAR hadn't already kind of confirmed it. So
yeah, and we've seen dates moving around here as they're trying to put the schedule out in chunks. But like we saw Michigan to say, hey, our June date's moved.
Right.
Probably going to be a doubleheader in August is what you can expect there. So there's going to be a lot of movement.
Just hope we can put people in the stands by then. I don't think we're going to be able to, but I sure hope we can.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know, maybe
It's
by
tough.
September. I think maybe by September we can trickle some people around. It's just not going to look the same.
I don't see it happening in Michigan, whether you like Governor Whitmer or you don't. I don't see Whitmer letting it happen.
She's
Just
not going to,
don't.
no. No, I don't think so. Not in Michigan. Hopefully,
We might have people in the stands at NASCAR races, but it ain't gonna be in Michigan.
no, it could be in Arizona for the championship though.
Yeah, could be.
Phoenix. Yeah.
Could also be for the Brickyard. There's some talk that Indy might be able to have
Well,
some
I got some
fans. In
I
the
got
seats.
some buddies who live in Indiana, and they've said that they're definitely not having the problems we are.
Well, not to mention you could put. I mean, if you've ever
You could
seen
scatter.
if you've ever seen the stands at the Brickyard
They're
400, they already social distance.
Yeah, NASCAR is the sport that's been practicing social distancing
Yeah.
for 12 years. So yeah, we're
each
fine.
fan can get their own section at the Brickyard.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff on how like even like basketball and hockey can come back, and some of the like the bubbles and stuff.
Right.
It's just not going to happen at NASCAR races, but
Right.
it's interesting.
Non-NASCAR news: IndyCar announced their schedule for the rest of the season. Figure we'll throw that out there real quick. They will kick off June 6th with the Genesis 300 at Texas Motor Speedway. They will race at Indianapolis on the road course on July 4th. Right? Is that right? Is this the right
I think
schedule?
so. Yeah, it's going to be right around that time. Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. Well,
They
the schedule
lost
I saw
Richmond.
earlier
though.
was wrong.
I
then,
know they
so.
lost Richmond. I saw that recently.
Yeah.
Within the last day or two, they lost Richmond.
Yeah, they've got a couple doubleheaders here. We've got a doubleheader at Road America. We have a doubleheader at Iowa. We have
They end at St. Pete now instead of starting at St. Pete.
Yep, we have the Grand Prix of Monterey has 2 races as well. So yeah, it's interesting. Indianapolis 500 is on August 23rd, as previously announced. So yeah,
That's gonna be cool. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be cool.
More motorsports news. Supercross comes back at the end of the month. They'll be racing all their races at Rice Eccles Stadium in Oregon, I think is where that is. I don't know where it is, but open air stadium. So they'll do all their races there. They're going to do like a race every other day or something like that until their season's done. So there we go. Getting some motorsports back, James. And with that, we're done with Darlington and we move to Charlotte. And this Sunday, it's the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
It's awesome.
Okay, you are still there. You
I'm
got
here.
quiet
No,
on
I'm
me.
here. I'm here. I'm letting you do your thing, man. Letting you roll.
Before we do that, we have to make our picks, James. But I want to go through our picks from last week.
Enjoy, man.
Yeah, just to talk about the results. So from Darlington.
Yep, this is you going. This is you doing the Polish victory lap with the checkered flag out the window.
Yeah,
Have fun.
I'll do this nice and slow. So Darlington race 1, James picked Joey Logano. Joey Logano finishes 18th. I picked Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin finishes 5th. I got the win on that one. Dark Horse, Ty Dillon finished 19th over James's pick. Chris Buescher finished 32nd, so I got the win there. Race number 2, I picked Kyle Busch as my winner, and he finished 2nd to James's Eric Jones, who finished 5th. And on Dark Horse, James stuck with Chris Buescher, who finished 23rd. And I picked Matt DiBenedetto, who finished 9th. So I lead 8-4 after 6 races, James.
Whew. I'm just lucky you didn't get the bonus.
Right? It was
Could have
close.
been a lot worse for me. Yeah.
It was close.
You did pick Denny Hamlin. You just picked the wrong
Yes,
version.
that is true. That is true. Somehow I managed to. Oh no, there it is. Okay, so we moved to Charlotte this weekend. Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday, 600 miles. James, you get the first pick.
I am going to take. Oh my gosh, this is pressure. Pressure situation. I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch.
Okay,
Go
interesting.
with Kyle Busch. Yep, I like the stability. I liked what the Toyotas did on Wednesday. I am a little nervous on picking a Toyota and not picking Martin Truex Jr. at that, but
Right.
I'll take Kyle Busch. I'm gonna see if I can't get a sturdy finish out of him.
Well,
He's due.
I'm gonna resist the urge to pick Martin Truex Jr. And I am going to go. Where was I at? I'm going to go completely out on a limb, James, and I'm going to pick Kurt Busch. I don't really know why.
That's a pretty good pick.
But
the Busch brothers.
Yeah, I'm going Kurt on this one.
He's looked racy.
Yeah, I think he's going to get himself a win here. Maybe Charlotte's not the place. But I don't know. I just like the way he looks lately.
Good deal.
Dark horse. I just want to look here real quick. Does Kurt Busch ever have a win at Charlotte?
That's you.
I was looking at the last 4.
In the last,
no, he has not won a race at Charlotte in the last 10 at least. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, Kurt's gonna do it this weekend. Dark horse. I'll take the first dark horse pick here, and will not go with Daniel Suarez, who is the highest finishing dark horse guy.
Yeah.
Can't pick Austin Dillon, right? He's a Coca-Cola 600 winner.
He's a Coca-Cola 600 champion. He is not allowed.
Clint Boyer can't be dark horse, can he?
Clint Boyer, I don't think he
I
qualifies
don't
either.
think he does either. Damn it. I don't want to.
Look at you trying to.
I just don't want to pick DiBenedetto every week. All right.
You're just trying to.
I'm gonna go John Hunter then.
Oh wow.
I'll go John Hunter Nemechek.
That's not actually. I mean, not a bad pick.
He's done so good.
I want to figure out what to do with Matt Kenseth. I'm not saying I'm going to pick him right now, but
where do we? You can't put him as a dark horse. He's a champion.
And I'm not saying I was going to. I just don't. I wanted to have clarification on that.
I'm trying to remember. We said that Newman is a dark horse, right? Is he a potential dark horse?
I don't know. I think it depends on the track with him.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a tough one. He's on the bubble.
Yeah.
I mean, he just made the chase last year. He made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I don't think he can't be a dark horse. What does Newman got? He can't be a dark. How many wins does he have overall? Completely?
He's got 18 career wins or something like that.
Yeah, he can't be a dark horse.
He can't qualify.
If Alex Bowman doesn't qualify as a dark horse anymore, which because he won already. Yeah, he's already won this year.
Yeah. As much as I want to take Bubba here, I'm gonna go with a safer pick. I'm gonna go William Byron because I really think he's gonna win a race here soon. Okay. I don't know, but I think he still qualifies until once he cracks it.
Once he gets the win, it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take him if I've got a chance to right now.
All right. That works. Race number 2 is Charlotte Wednesday night. The Alsco Uniforms 500K, another 300 miler at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I get first pick on this one, and I am going to go. I'm going to go Kevin Harvick.
I like it.
I'm leaving Truex for you, man. Right there.
Yeah,
Truex is the
Chevy.
Truex is the pick for the long race.
Kyle
Busch is a better pick for this race.
For this shorter race, I'm gonna take Chase Elliott.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Chase Elliott.
It's a really good one.
Yeah, he's been really good here, especially the last couple. But I like him in this shorter. Race. I think he's gonna be a problem. I think we're gonna see from him he should have won Wednesday, and I think he'll be right there.
Yeah.
Again.
Okay. Dark horse.
Defending track winner, by the way, if you count the Roval as Charlotte, he did win the last race at Charlotte. Dark horse. I get to go dark horse.
Yep, you get first dark horse.
Oh man, I'm gonna do what I did last week. I'm gonna pick the same guy as a dark horse. I'm gonna go William Byron again. How
does this work if William Byron wins?
Oh boy,
in the first race.
Well, I guess I got my picks in before.
Yeah, you did. I'm gonna stick on the rookie bandwagon, and I'm gonna go Tyler Reddick.
That's really good. That's really good. He's going to be a great dark horse pick for us this year because he's going to get like 12 top 10s this year. Yeah. He's going to be he's
not to mention it's a shorter race which may benefit the rookie.
I like that. That's why I am kind of leaning on Chase and William.
And what's a team that's run well at Charlotte in the Chevys?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So there we go.
At what point does Tyler Reddick put Austin Dillon out of a job?
Never, because Austin Dillon's got it's his grandpa, man. He's not going anywhere.
Tyler Reddick's just so impressive to me.
Austin Dillon will retire in that 3-car.
Austin Dillon won. This is how great I think Tyler Reddick is. Austin Dillon won the Coke 600 and the Daytona 500, and I don't think he's the best driver on that team.
No, Reddick's got some talent. That kid's got some talent for sure, and he is not scared of wheeling a race car either.
Oh, I know. I really like Tyler Reddick. And Austin Dillon is a really good. I think Austin Dillon is a good driver. It's just that what he's doing with RCR is impressive.
You know who the most disappointed driver in the Cup Series is this year, in my opinion, that we're not racing at Chicagoland? Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, he'd be good there.
Chicagoland is a Tyler Reddick style racetrack.
Yeah, he'd be good there.
Watching him run that Xfinity car there last year was just watching him in practice, run that thing right against the wall. I stood down in turn 1 while he was practicing. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
He's gonna be around a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's something else, man.
Yep. Let's talk fantasy league, James. How did that go this week?
Again, I got 0 for 2 against you. Man, I had a rough Darlington. Holy crap, dude.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
Not great.
especially because I finished 6th the first day, and I'm like, I definitely did better the second day, and I finished 7th. So,
Yeah. It's not good.
and didn't I pick the winner the second day? I had freaking Hamlin.
Lineup. Yeah, you had a decent lineup the second day. I had Hamlin too, but it wasn't good.
Apparently, everybody chose Hamlin, so that's why it sucked.
We did have a new person join the league, Jay Wint. They're a little bit back, but hey, welcome to the league, man. Go out there and win some races.
You'll pass us soon.
Yeah, if we keep doing the way we're going. So right now, overall standings, Ranger running. I mean, that he's a beast. He's back up front at 1164. Then Freight Train, and then I dropped. Just
for the record, before we go through these, Ranger won both of the Darlington races.
Yeah, he's a beast, dude. I think he was our champion last year, right? If I remember correctly.
He may have been, yeah.
He was up there all season, either way. And then Freight Train, Smokey Comeback, that's me. Denny the Many, Justin 713, KB Show, Barron Speedway, Toyota Fans 60.
Barron Speedway got a 3rd and a 2nd at Darlington, so
Barron Speedway had a nice weekend. He had a nice week, a nice week, I should say. Yeah. And then for the races themselves, I want to make sure Darlington won. That was Ranger and Barron, and then Denny the Many, and then Darlington 2 was Ranger, Freight Train, and Barron. So yeah, you're right. And that's when Jay Wint came on board for the second race and finished 5th. So welcome to the league, and you can listen to Eric and I complain about it every week.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. At some point, we'll just stop talking about it because we hate it.
Well, we haven't stopped yet.
Yeah, right.
We haven't stopped yet, but man, I caught hell from you and Todd all week, so I gotta step my game up.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, if you didn't get so excited when you do win, then.
Well, usually I feel like you're worse at that than I am, but maybe
I'm terrible at it. I'm a very sore winner.
Yeah, that's fine.
Very sore winner.
That's fine. Hey, man, it's all for fun. We just like to have fun. It's fun to poke crap at each other too. So.
That's the thing with me is I'm one of those people that I love to give crap, but I enjoy it back. Like I became a Chicago Bears fan just because everybody around here is Lions fans, and it was fun to get everybody riled up.
But the Bears did what the Bears do, and they really suck. They suck.
They're so similar to the Lions that it's ridiculous.
You hitched your wagon to Jay Cutler. Woof.
Yeah. Well, again, I've said before that the Chicago Bears is the only team that gets worse when Jay Cutler leaves.
Well, he got Mitch Trubisky, so that was that was the downgrade.
Yeah. Kind of hoping that the NFL season doesn't happen just as a Bears fan, because then I don't have to go through the suffering.
Hey, well, us Lions fans, we'll be fine too.
Right.
So we'd be fine. We'd be fine with no season. We basically have no season every year anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, usually there's enough hope at the beginning that like everybody gets excited during the preseason, and then it just
that's the thing. Like if you're a real Lions fan, you don't get excited. Real Lions fans know.
Dude, I was there for the first home game a couple years ago, and they won that game, and you would have thought they won the Super Bowl. Everybody thought it was the greatest. The Lions are the best. They're back, which I don't know how you can be back when you've
it's
never
hard for
been
me
good.
Because I hate my own kind. Lions fans have the same problem as Michigan football fans. Sometimes you think you're greater than you really are. Sorry, Michigan football fans.
It's not wrong.
I know. Michigan football fans are the most irritating fan base, and I'm not a State fan, so you can't even come at me about that. It's just Michigan fans are the most irritating sports fans, and that probably goes for the entire state because Spartan fans are the same way.
Yeah.
But Michigan fans are worse. They are the worst.
Are they worse?
Worst.
Are they worse than Yankees fans?
Yes. Oh, the Michigan fans are.
How about Dodgers fans? There's nothing worse than the LA fans, is there?
Easy.
I know. But you see,
I used to be a Lakers fan.
Here's the difference between you and the LA fans, though. You are an LA fan, not from LA. You're not an LA fan because it's cool. You're an LA fan because you like the Lakers.
Like the Lakers and Kobe, and yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I won't give you crap about liking the Lakers, but 90% of the people sitting courtside at the Lakers games are there because it's cool, not because they like the Lakers.
Sure, yeah. Leo DiCaprio's got to get that shine.
Exactly.
Yeah. I understand.
Get on camera there, so.
The Dodger fans can be kind of annoying. They were annoying during the World Series runs the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I get it. I understand.
And Patriots fans. Gross.
Yeah, I like the Patriots just because
gross.
that's what I wish my football team could be. But yeah, Patriots fans can be They can push it.
Disgusting. I say as a Red Wings fan, which we were just as arrogant as freaking Yankees fans for a while until our team
Well, when
sucked.
you win and you win big all the time, it's easy to fall into the trap. Yeah. The problem with Michigan fans is you don't win. You guys never win, and you have this sense of arrogance about you. Sorry.
Right. The Red Wings were proof that money can buy a championship.
If my Dale Jr. take didn't have people turn against me, the Michigan take will definitely have.
I know we're supposed to make people like us with this podcast, James.
Oh, people really are. I'm really traveling down a tightrope.
It works for me though because you make me likable. So
good. That's why I'm playing my role. I'll be the heel.
There you go. You got any shout outs this week, James?
Two quick ones. I think you and I may share one of my shout outs.
Okay.
First one, ESPN. Thank you for your coverage. As much crap as they got from NASCAR Nation. It was nice to see Marty and McGee back at the track. I thought that was really cool. So, Marty was at the track on Sunday, and then McGee was back at the track on Wednesday. So, we ride high with Marty and McGee. So it was cool, kind of old school to have them back. And then I'll let you do your shout out, and then I think we both probably can do one maybe together after.
Okay. I'm guessing you're looking at the notes and seeing the order, and that's what we're doing here.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So first of all, first shout out is the Dale Jr. download. This is my weekly shout out. I haven't done it for a couple of weeks because I hadn't had a chance to listen to podcasts. But if you're going to listen to a podcast, listen to this week's Dale Jr. podcast with Kurt Busch. Spectacular interview with Kurt. I have not actually finished it yet, but Kurt does a great job of explaining. I mean, Junior flat. I can't remember if it was Junior or if it was who's Junior's guy that
Davis.
Yeah, Davis. If it was Davis that asked him, but basically asked him, to tell his life story and how he went from being the most obnoxious guy in NASCAR to growing up, and Kurt did a great job of breaking it down. He went from a lot of people give the Busch guys crap because they say that they came from a rich background, blah, blah, blah. But according to Kurt, they had to work to do what they did. They had to sell cars to buy their next car. And he was used to putting the work in and being blue collar. And when he came into Roush, suddenly he was winning without having to do that stuff. And he thought it was all him and put it on his shoulder. And it took going to Penske and a structured environment to knock him down a little bit. And he's the one, supposedly, according to him, that chose the route to go from a C team to a B team to an A team with the goal of racing for Stuart Haas. And Kurt, if you've talked to Kurt, if you've followed Kurt's career, he's a completely different person. He's certainly not the guy that won the championship back, the first year of the Nextel Cup Series.
So Kurt said he wanted to leave Penske?
No, he said that when he got the boot, when he got knocked down a peg, he decided because he had some offers, or it was in talks with some people about like mid-range teams, and he decided he wanted to go race. He knew he could go race for James Finch for free, and he wanted to build that career back up. He wanted to build his persona back up.
That's cool.
And I mean, I don't know how accurate that is because it's really easy to say that when you've been able to do it.
A little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. So
what he did in that car, though, I mean, people. It's probably one of the bright spots outside of his championship. That what he did with Finch and then what he did with the 78, the initial run, was incredible.
Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. owes his championship to Kurt Busch.
Yeah, Kurt Busch brought that team out of it. I mean, that team had credibility with Kurt Busch.
Yeah. Actually, that's what it was. It was Furniture Row. He said Furniture Row wanted him to come drive for him the first year. And he said, no, he's going to go down and race for James Finch and build things back up. And then he jumped up from there. And I mean, if you remember him with the James Finch car, it wasn't like Clint Boyer when he was running for the underfunded team.
He almost won Sonoma until a part broke.
Right. But it wasn't like he didn't have a chip on his shoulder running that car. Like he was too good for the equipment. He had fun with it. They did the Talladega Nights paint scheme, and they did some fun stuff and goofed off with it and enjoyed it. And, I think he truly was, it's one of those things, you bring these kids up so young and some of them just can't handle it. And when you see success at a young age like that and nobody's there to put you in check, he talked about his dad, told him, like, I can't help you. I don't know how to talk to media. I don't know how to do this stuff. It was beyond his dad's help. So he was at it alone. And I don't know. I've come to really respect Kurt Busch. You know, I've gotten to talk to him a couple times, and he's
a hell of a race car driver.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
And he's definitely very wise. And one thing to look at with Kurt is look at what he's done. You know, he helped James Finch. He came up, he built up Furniture Row. You know, he's built up teams along his career. He came to Chip Ganassi and helped that team get better. This is just, Kurt is a great coach. He's somebody that would be a great driver coach after he retires, work with these drivers.
Yeah, whatever he wants to do, right?
Yeah.
He's great. Yeah, he you know, with Stuart Haas, I think he kind of almost underachieved a little bit because of what that team could have been capable of. But regardless, he won a race every single season.
Yep.
You know, he was in a late championship hunt in 2018 before getting knocked out. So yeah, he's good, and he's still got a few years left. He's only 41 years old, so he's got time to do some more amazing things. He's got 3 top 10s this year already, so he's on it.
Yeah, Kurt's at this point in his career, I think, where he's realized what he's accomplished, and he's at peace. You know, I think if Kurt left it tomorrow, he'd be comfortable with what he's done, and so I think he's able to maybe enjoy it to a level that most drivers don't get to enjoy it.
Yep.
You know, Matt Kenseth might be able to come in and do that this year too, but a lot of drivers don't get that opportunity to still be successful, still be competitive, but be satisfied with what they've done.
Right.
And maybe it's having your whole career taken away from you and be put in check, and then be able to earn it back that allows you that, you know, that feeling.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Again, just, you know, Dale Jr.'s, they do a great job on that podcast. They get great people on every week. They get some great interviews. Again, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. But certainly listen to the Kurt Busch one. I already had a lot of respect for Kurt. Have a lot more now. And again, just a guy that's enjoying life right now and having fun racing in the Cup Series.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I like it.
All right. So the next one, am I starting? Are you starting? How do you want to do this?
I don't know.
Because we don't even know if we're on the same page, but.
I think we probably are, but so our area of the country has gotten some national attention with the floods. So I just wanted to take a minute to just say we're getting good at talking about disasters on this podcast. I feel like, but you know, nobody was, you know, we had no perishing people or anything like that, but you had the company that you work for has done a great job covering it locally, and there's been a lot of great people, a lot of great stories coming out of helping people with the floods here in central Michigan.
James is a lot closer than I am. James is pretty close to the area, but
yeah, we were
safe.
Yeah, we were in the, I guess if there's a red zone, we were in the yellow zone of you know, we were safe, but we still had to take precautions. You know, we were told yesterday, don't use your water as much as possible.
Right.
Like, you don't want to over flood the sewer system, which is already strained. But if anybody hasn't heard the news, in Michigan, we had 2 dams break. One's on the verge of breaking still and hanging on. And it flooded the city of Midland, which has a NASCAR tie. It's the home of Dow, where Austin, you know, sponsors Austin Dillon and Richard Childress Racing. But that town's been devastated by the floods, and amidst a pandemic where we're trying to also social distance, we have people going into shelters. So just we're thinking about them over here, and it sucks that we have to go through another whole thing, especially, you know, we finally have a holiday weekend. People can finally get outside a little bit. We're starting to open the state up just a little bit from coronavirus, and man, it's just one thing after another. But seen some good things out of it too. People doing some good work. Helping people out, and hopefully everything will be okay. We're praying for those people. And Eric, I know, like I said, your company's doing a great job, but I'm sure you probably have a couple of thoughts too.
Yeah, definitely. Friend of the show, Todd, just on the show a couple weeks ago, NASCAR official Todd, was evacuated from his apartment. We don't know the status of that, but everything I think seems okay.
Yeah. Yep.
But he's with his family in another city right now. So, you know, thoughts and prayers with him as well. But he's doing fine. And so yeah, it's been pretty crazy. It's pretty nearby, and certainly not something that I expected. You know, I work for the newspaper I work for is Huron Daily Tribune. It's a Hearst media company. And they also own the Midland Daily News, which is the paper covering the actual flood. They're right in town. They've actually been evacuated from their office, although they weren't working from the office anyway because of coronavirus. So
yeah, right.
So you know, we've been in communication with them over the past couple days, and certainly helping them out with their coverage, and you know, getting them what they need, helping them with stuff that's not flood related, that so they can concentrate on the floods. And a lot of good journalism work and stuff being done over here. So. Again, if you haven't heard about it, just search for Midland floods, and you'll find it all over social media.
It's national news. Yep, I drove into Midland today, and it's pretty scary to see water that should be not even close to where there should be water. Like right. I'm talking a mile or so, and there's
this
water.
Area where this floods all the freaking time, but never like
not like this. This broke the. Was it Eric, the 500-year record or whatever?
Yeah, the governor said it's a 500-year event. It's not a 500-year flood because the flood isn't really. It's not so much a natural disaster. It's we won't get into the details of it, but it's
there's politics and other stuff involved there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a neglect issue. So
yeah. And I think not to get into that part of it, but I think some climate change might be going on too, right. Where it's stressing out some of this other stuff that's going on. But
yeah,
you know, we have a lake near us, Wixom Lake, and it's gone. It's empty. Yeah, it's empty.
Stream.
It's a desert. It's a desert. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just man. Yeah, so I have been training for a marathon, which has now been canceled 3 different times. And I was going to make my attempt anyway in Midland because I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let COVID take this from me. I did the whole thing, and I'm going to run it.
Right.
So I was going to run it in Midland. And so now I'm 0 for 4. So I don't know where that's going to take place or how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So, but man, you know, I put a lot of training miles out there in Midland this year, and it's, you know, everything's underwater, and it's just surreal, you know.
Yeah.
To deal with that.
I have 2 more, a little bit more positive on these. First of all, I wanted to shout out Jeff Gluck at The Athletic. Jeff, or those of us who became Athletic subscribers, thanks to Jeff moving over there and getting us free subscriptions because we were patrons of Jeff's. Those will be expiring because, the year's over. So
1 year, yeah.
I highly encourage everybody, if you followed Jeff and follow what he's done, if you enjoy it, to subscribe to The Athletic. And this is not sponsored or anything; we get nothing from this, but support them. They've already had layoffs and stuff with sports being down. I'd hate to see them have to cut back more if they're not getting the support from NASCAR. So they've done some really good work over there. Jeff's done some really good stuff. I did want to shout out an article, and of course this is David Smith that wrote this, and David's not with The Athletic anymore. You can become a patron of his. But we didn't talk about it on the podcast. He did an article with The Athletic before he left of breaking down Kyle Busch's 2007 release from Hendrick and breaking down the numbers between him and the other Hendrick drivers, and especially Casey Mears, who
he's got a thing with Casey Mears.
Yeah, Casey Mears was chosen over Kyle Busch in this whole situation, and it really breaks down. I won't get too in depth into it. Subscribe to The Athletic and go read this article, but it talks a lot about why it was chosen to get rid of Busch instead of Mears, and a lot of it had to do with Busch's agent at the time, who was trying to pad his own pockets. But it's a really interesting read. Definitely worth checking out if you guys.
Isn't he great? I mean, doesn't he do a good job? I mean, he does great work.
Yeah, generally this stuff is over my head. I don't get into the numbers a whole lot, but when I have, delved into some of his things, he does an awesome job. And so Jordan Bianchi and Jeff Gluck still at The Athletic. Give them some support. Subscribe to The Athletic. There's also some other great sports news there, so check that out as well. I got even more. Shout out to NASCAR and everybody involved with NASCAR this week to be able to get a show on the track, have everything go smoothly, not create any negative news. Awesome job there. And lastly, I want to give a little shout out to the local racetrack, Merritt Speedway, which is owned by the gentleman who purchased the track I used to work at, Tri-City Motor Speedway. The governor opened up a bunch of the state this weekend for Memorial Day weekend, and Merritt Speedway put together in a couple days a weekend show for Memorial Day weekend, and they have racing here in Michigan. Fans can come. It is limited seating, social distancing, all that stuff. But big props to Merritt Speedway for following the orders and not trying to push it, and then B, having a plan in place and going racing as soon as they can, which is pretty awesome. So good luck to them this weekend. Weather looks like it's going to be good, so they should be able to get some good stuff going. Should have a lot of people interested in it. Too bad they're probably going to have to turn some people away in the long run. But if you're in Michigan and you're looking for something to do and you want to see some live racing in person, you can go to Merritt Speedway and up in Merritt and check that out. It'll be a good show. Merritt puts on a good show. So.
Well done.
With that, I think I'm done with my shout-outs, James.
Are we at 2 hours for this podcast? We're getting close.
We're probably about an hour and a half. So
okay, that's a long one.
Yeah, James, where can they find you on social media if they want to chat with you during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. I've been tweeting a bit during the races, so I'm trying to stay a little bit more active. Like I said, NASCAR's done a great job with the media stuff and giving us more access than we normally would. I really hope it continues after the media is allowed back at the track, because it's great. Just having the leaderboards, from the track is awesome. The rest of it is just icing on the cake. But to have that and be able to interact with the drivers with the Zoom calls is pretty cool as well. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. You can find us online at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find links to all of our past podcasts, or a bunch of them on there. Links to the show notes. You can in the show notes you can find links to the articles we discussed today and any other show. Definitely some old podcasts on there. Like I said, NASCAR official Todd was on a couple weeks ago. We talked with him. We've talked to the Orange Cone. We've talked to Barron Speedway. We've had drivers on, all kinds of stuff. So check that out, thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. And if you want to become a part of the show, help us out. Help us get to the track when NASCAR decides to let us go back to the track. You can become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. We've got 2 cup races in. We got 2 more coming this week. Let's hope the weather's good in Charlotte. We go to the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. No fans, but we get 600 miles of NASCAR racing. We'll be back next week at some point to discuss it and talk about how I beat James with all of my picks once again. And with that, the only thing left to do is say, let's go racing.